Hi, thank you for being here, first and foremost. I want to get that out. Secondly, the topic of this video, which is you always have to choose who you will become. This is by far an underrated statement. We make choices in life thinking that our choices once will define who we are for the days to come. Yet, ultimately, you always have to choose who you'll become. You always have to you always have to sow the seeds of what particular plant you want in order to get that plant. You can't be fit if you don't be fit, just as much so you can't get a tomato out of a potato seed. We always have to choose who we'll become. And saying those words, hearing that and feeling that weight seems a little, I'm not gonna say doomsday-ish, but it makes me feel like, well, damn, you're telling me I have to go day by day to continually defining who I am? And I mean, the answer to that question is yes, you do. You always have to plan, or at least try, or at least choose who you'll become, because what you choose ultimately defines who you are. And it's important to make that choice. So, first thing, I want to get out is just that. Just understanding this basic, mm, I want to say revelation. And then moving on forward now, we can kind of like navigate, okay, what now? So, what I want to do is I want to lead a little bit actually from my personal, let's say, strife and problems that I've had like around this topic. And I actually have a writing right here in front of me where I'm recording. And I'm just going to read you the first little bit so you can get kind of like a perspective on where I was and how I was feeling. And right here, I say, I lead a life now that is removed from indulgences, or at least I'm trying to. A deadly amount of addictive power can grow in short periods of time. I feel I underestimated that power. Context. At that time, I was trying to remove indulgences. I was trying to become a better person, more firm and like firm resolve, not no hesitation for not just my own benefit, but I guess my family's benefit as well. I truly just wanted to become better, just kind of like enlightened in that way. But I was being dragged down by just bad habits and whatever have you that I was participating in those times. And it took a lot of like self reflection. I was even watching YouTube videos at the time, trying to just find like a source of pure inspiration, purpose, drive, just some energy. But after circling, in and throughout social media, the grid, let's say, and, kind of just pulling from, well, I didn't have anyone around me at the time. I remember I was taking care of house sitting for someone, cat sitting specifically. And I just remember at the time I was just in the house alone, just truly just trying to figure out what I was going to do alongside with the cat, which I was almost rehearsing my life with, because, I'm just silly like that. But like the seriousness was still looming. The weight of always having to choose who I'll become was something that was just burning into my mind. And I believe I have more answers on this notebook. So allow me to pause and I'll read a little bit more so we can actually like learn what I did, to overcome this weight. So I have the book right in front of me. Allow me to divert my gaze down as I read. These are probably the most important bits of this whole discovery process I was going through. And it goes like this: the line that I'm writing is one that'll guide me throughout all of my ages. Going up and down, left and right, I have realized that life is only really going to ever be what you make of it. You stay boring and plain, you become more boring and plain. If you consume this and that, then it's more likely you'll be this and that. Those statements are just as real as an object that motion tends to stay in motion. If I want to become the best person I can see in myself, then I have to believe, then I have to become that person. Just because I hold that image in my head doesn't mean I'll magically manifest it. Literal transformation has to occur to steadily to be that high image, because that pursuit is its own journey. It becomes a guide through the dark. If I give it up or stray, I give it up or stray. Simple as that. Those two paragraphs, and those are the end of my writing, truly does say it all. In order to be who you become is ultimately putting into the universe what it is you want to become. Someone recently just said to me, like, what you give out to the world is what you receive. And like, that was just like kind of like further confirmation with me. It's like, if I want to become this person who's, filled with love, or at least has love around him and isn't so destructive because he's, in, let's say, indulgences, like alcohol is a bad one, and too much, abuse of substances, or just rude and, harboring resentment because I have some unmanaged neurosis. Or, I mean, the list can go on if we truly didn't pick ourselves, but I'm not going to gaslight myself. And, rather, I want to lead a life, that's more stable, more orderly. So I'm going to put more order into my life. Maybe I perhaps take up more writing, more journaling, more planning throughout my day, even if it's subtle. Like, I'm going to become the shift that I want to see. Instead of just trying to manifest it and hope it comes to me magically, I'm going to at least set the magic into some motion so it can play out. I'm going to open my heart a little bit more to stretch my perspectives. It's like the profound shifts that I can make is only really limited to what I'm able to do or what I'm willing to do. And once I made that snap, which pretty much was a snap, I just wrote all this down because I was like, whoa. You always have to choose who you'll become. Though always having to choose, is such a weight because you always have to do it every day. It's also the miracle in which you're bestowed upon because you do have a choice every day. There's actually freedom, and that freedom is found in your action. And something which seems so daunting to me, lonely in that house trying to figure my life out, I found some light in. And since that day, I've been slowly building myself up. I've been slowly choosing, who I'll become. And obviously, I've had some bad days or good days, but, from that rock bottom, bedrock bottom sheet of rock I was on, I'm so much better off now, having chose and stuck with it through the days. Because, the reality is in our days of life that, it does take days to see the work in which you do, Rome wasn't built in a day. A seed doesn't grow, straight out of the soil just like that. It takes some time, and learning to be patient with yourself is its own darn skill. It's something which is, that's a whole nother topic because it's a whole nother skill set. But I learned patience as well. You could say I learned patience. So that's one for you as well. But the core function of the matter is precisely you always have to choose who you'll become. And what I'm really trying to stress for you, just as an individual viewing this video, is obviously you probably are wanting to find that thing, or at least, go in the right direction, or just curious, about becoming better. And my 2 cents that I can give to you is that you will always have to choose, but knowing that there's almost an infinite amount of choices makes it so you are enabled. But really, in order, what you really got to do, you really got to narrow down on what you want. Your desire isn't wrong here, but you must form your desire into the most, let's say, the most good that benefits the world in the best ways, not just for yourself, but also others. Because that tends to be a better, image or target to shoot for than just pure selfish desire. So, I mean, like, at this point, all you got to do is just choose and act. And the rest is history. I mean, I can't talk about anything more. Staying patient and staying disciplined to your own choices is really where your resistance or your ability to stay on track is ultimately going to be up to your hands. But there's always things that you can look at, videos you can browse over, or texts you can read to help you maintain your vision and maintain your path. So never feel discouraged that you're never not going to make it. It's just whether or not you had the best aim in mind, or whether it needs adjusted, tinkered a little bit this way. I mean, you never know what's going to happen. Anything can happen. And that's the darn truth. But anywho, I'm done speaking. I've yapped. I have talked. Hopefully I've inspired. Hopefully you gained some good wisdom out of this video, which is really the core thing I want, being taken away. It's just the wisdom of this video. I truly hope that you got what you got and you good now. I thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Until I see you next time. Thank you.